Hi, everyone. Welcome to SideQuest 18 of High Scores, High Stakes, the podcast that used to play games, but now only talks about them. I'm your host, as always, Mr. Luvva Luvva. With me is my co host, a very tired.
Ah, Tomahawk here. I am exhausted. This has been the longest week of my life.
Yes, it has
I'm
been.
not gonna lie. Uh, I'm in pain.
Well, tonight's discussion should relieve you of some of that pain, Tomahawk, because we're talking about a very exciting topic, the PlayStation January State of Play, which was a mixed bag, I think is the fair
That's
way
it.
to say
Absolutely.
it. But before we start talking about that, let's tell our listeners, because we might have first time listeners who knows what exactly High Scores High Stakes is. High Scores High Stakes is usually when in season is for friends competing in a league table on challenges and PlayStation games. Whoever wins that challenge gets 3 points, second place gets 2 points, third place gets 1 point, and last place gets 0 points. And that's how it works, usually. We are still in our off season here, though,
On a
which
prolonged off season, yeah.
that's exactly what I was going to say. A pre-season or a post-season, maybe we want to say that is seemingly going to be destined to go on forever.
So our long-time listeners will be like, I remember when they used to play games.
Yes,
What a
remember
time to be
when?
alive.
Do you remember when there was a competition element to this podcast? Now it's just become every other podcast.
It's getting there.
It
It's
is.
getting there. The
It is
R&D
getting
in
there.
this needs to be appreciated, I think, everyone. But yeah, it's gonna happen. Season 3 is confirmed. We have been renewed for another season.
We have been renewed. Uh, another 12 episodes of premium PlayStation competition. That's what it is going to be, and it will start very soon if all goes to plan. If all goes to
That's
plan,
it.
it should go all to plan. And speaking of things going to plan, Tomahawk, do you know what has been going to plan?
Tell us what has been going to
This
plan.
this segue into our housekeeping.
Yeah. Who doesn't love a good segue?
So, if you like the podcast and you have not yet followed or liked or subscribed, whatever it is on whatever platform you're listening on, feel free to do that now. If you want to leave a review for this podcast, especially if it's going to be a 5-star review, then do that as well. I don't know what it does, but here, why not? And if you want more high scores, high stakes content, you will find us all over social media and all over the internet. And the easiest place to find us all over the internet is by guiding your browser to highscoreshighstakes.com. There you'll find a whole heap of articles, a whole heap of our previous episodes, and on top of the screen, you'll see a whole load of little icons. If you click each of those icons, it'll bring you to our site on whatever platform that might be. There is Twitch, there's Instagram, there's Twitter, there's loads. I'm drawing a blank. YouTube, there's a whole heap there. The whole heap is there.
We'll stick the link in
Description
the
below.
episode description as well, so keep it for easy access.
Yes. And also, just before we get into the main body of this podcast, I think we should alert our first time listeners of what is actually going on and what will be recorded next week and hopefully released the
Ooh.
week after, which is, of course, our new bonus podcast, Game of the Month Club. And January's game, which I have finished, that's all I'm saying. I have finally gotten to the end of it, is Hideo Kojima's masterpiece, Metal Gear Solid. So if you're listening to this and you think, I have an opinion on Metal Gear Solid that I think the boys at High Scores High Stakes would like to hear, get yourself over to highscoreshighstakes.com. There is an article there, and it will allow you to leave a comment in which you can give us your opinion on Metal Gear Solid. If it is particularly good or particularly negative, then we will read it out in the episode and try to get your voice on High Scores High Stakes.
As if that episode's not going to be padded enough, we're going
I
to
know.
put viewer receivership into it as well.
Well, the good news is, as of this record, there is a grand total of precisely 0. So it may
Fab.
just be, it's just going to be us.
Oh, that's it. If it's going to be four people just yelling opinions of Metal Gear Solid at each other, happy days. Live for it. It's what we do
Yeah,
best here.
yeah. And speaking of yelling opinions, I think we could yell some opinions about the state of play that was recently aired. Tomahawk,
Hmm.
are you ready for
Yes.
this?
Let's
Then let's get
do
there.
it. Absolutely.
Change of plan, actually. Change of plan.
In
Slight
high
change of
school's
plan.
high stakes fashion, yes.
We are
Good.
going off piste here, Tom. I forgot to ask you the most important question of the week. I think you all know what it is. It is Tomahawk. What are you playing?
It's the only question I ever care about on this podcast now. Everything else is it's all relative, isn't
It's
it?
it's the only question I care about in life. I mean, I'm not gonna
So
lie.
that's it. So I've done something a little bit off piece for young Tomahawk here. I've been Twitch streaming.
What?
I know.
What?
I've been
I did
using
not know
the
this.
I've been using the Baron High Scores High Stakes Twitch channel, and I've
Hmm.
been streaming Bloodborne
You have been
ve-
streaming Bloodborne. I
very
have
badly.
I have witnessed some of it myself.
I tell you what, though, like I've owned this game. I think I've said this several times on this podcast now. I've played Bloodborne relatively little in the 9 years it's been released now, and I think I had a brainwave. I just went knuckle down, get it done. You'd love this game.
Yep.
Like put the bloody time and effort into it, and haven't I just? I finally figured out how From wants you to play this game,
Yep.
and oh, I can't get enough of it. I'm actually like I'm dedicating it purely for Twitch for streaming at the minute. So it's actually really bugging me that I can't just like load it up as and when I fancy it without thinking, oh god, I'm gonna have to Twitch. I'm
Yes.
gonna have to like boot Twitch up at the same time now. But it took me a while, so I'm kind of just Father Gascoigne's done. Bloodstarved Beast is done.
Yep.
Kind of just meandering through the map here, trying to figure out my next
Where you're
step.
going.
Exactly. What I would love is if like a merchant or like back in the Hunter's Paradise, you could purchase a map, possibly.
No.
Re-
No. Temper
Rely
that
like
expectation. No.
I know because
There's
it
no
was
such thing.
brilliant though. Because I think on stream I was having a wee meander about Old Yarnum, went and did the loop, killed the two hunters, beat the Bloodstarved Beast, came back and thought it prompts you to go back to the cathedral area.
Mhm.
As soon as I fast travel to that point, I'd sort of turn around and go, "Was that door always there?" And then just went followed it, and this opened up a whole new path I never knew existed. It was, I think that's the
It's all
joy of this game. Now everything just you figure it out as you go, and the story just kind of reveals itself to you. Really,
yes, it does. Yes, yes. It's one of my favorite things about From Software games is you go to a place and you find some new place to go, and it just feels like completely disconnected until a little bit later on when you open a
uh-huh.
gate or a door, and it's like
That
that's
whole
where
area
this
has now been
is.
cut. You've created this path through the areas now. Yeah,
Yep, and it's awesome. Bloodborne is an awesome game. I think back in the day when I was a blogger, I think I give it a 10 out of 10. And I think I named it as Game of the PlayStation 4 generation. And I stand by that. I think
it
it's a
still holds
fantastic
up.
game.
I think it's just as beautiful. I mean,
Hmm.
it's as we say this all the time. A From Software game is just tones of grey.
Yes,
But what a tone of grey this is.
it's incredible. It's an incredible experience. It's not very often you play a game, it stays with you. But Bloodborne stay with me. I think I
Even
played through
in
it on Twitch as well, way back in the day. Like, and
yeah,
I struggled through it, especially at the start. Bloodstarved Beast give me nightmares. Father Gascoigne give me nightmares. But once you get into it, it's great.
that's it as well. Like Father Gascoigne is, I think, one of the most ideal tutorial boss ever because he
Mhm.
plays you. You're nearly expected to mirror him until he then goes into a multi-phase boss.
And he becomes a werewolf.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then it's really, really good, and it's exactly how From wants you to play that game. And unless you're going to emulate that style, you will struggle.
Yeah, yeah. It's classic sort of like video game design is look at this character. He is you. This is how you are meant to play this game. Be aggressive, get in the face, and be able to improvise when you need to. Father Gascoigne's A great, great, great boss. Did you get the music box for Father Gascoigne, or did you do it straight?
I did it straight.
Are you aware of the music box?
I was not aware of a music box.
Okay, so on the way to Father Gascoigne, you pass loads of doors, but you'll notice that the doors have little lanterns on the outside.
Okay.
If you stop at those doors with the little lanterns, you can knock the door and speak to the resident inside. Now, one of those doors, I believe it is where just before where the dogs are, before you go up the stairs into Gascoigne. You'll speak to a little girl, and she will tell you that her father went out on the hunt and hasn't returned yet, and she's very, very worried about him. And if you give him this music box, then it will tell him to come back home. Now, her father
Okay.
is Father Gascoigne. You can't give him the box, obviously, because he's turned into the beast. But if you select that music box in your inventory when you're fighting him, it'll play music and it'll stop him from attacking for a few seconds.
Oh, okay.
It's
That's
really
cool.
cool.
It's like these lovely
Brilliant.
wee nuances
Yeah.
in the especially in the inventory list as well. Even it was only until after I completed the section in Oldie Arnhem with the two rogue hunters.
On
I
the
was
machine gun?
reading, yeah, and then
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
once it's on like the veranda outside the church,
Hmm.
only until afterwards I'm reading it. It's like, oh, you don't have to confront them that way. If you go this opposite direction, they won't
Hmm.
attack you, and they'll be quite passive towards you. Then I'm like, that's no good to me now. I've
Yeah.
already killed one of them and made one roll himself off the roof.
Climb up the ladder and then just roll around and eventually he'll fall off.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And then I lost his loot, so I had to die and come back and basically
Reclaim
reclaim it
it.
that way. It's a great game. I think I could talk all day for it, but we're pressed for time
We
today.
are
So
today. We very much pressed for time. So you're playing that on
I'm playing that.
twitch.tv forward
I'll
slash high
be
scores, high stakes.
exclusively exactly.
So check out Tomahawk. Keep an eye on Twitch, I'm sure, or Twitch on
Very
X.
loose schedule at the minute, but
Yeah.
everyone who's on our platforms will be able to see
Well,
when we go live.
so follow us on all the socials and you'll find out when Tomahawk's live. And you can go and laugh at him as he struggles his way through Bloodborne, losing his hair. Losing his
Perfect.
hair. That'll
What
give
about
you a few
yourself,
grace.
Luvva? What are
I
we
have been
doing this week
playing,
then?
honestly, I've been playing very, very little, mate. Most of my time's been spent getting through Metal Gear Solid for Game of the Month episode coming up. Beat that, not last night, the night before. Um, I'm going to withhold my opinions and thoughts on Metal Gear Solid until that episode. So if you want to know what
Yeah.
I thought of that, make sure you catch our Game of the Month episode coming not next week, but not this week, but next week. I have also been playing wee bits and bobs, nothing mega. I've been playing Silent Hill, a short message, which was announced in the Sony State of Play. It's that free to play Silent Hill game. Not very far in it at all. Literally just downloaded it, bit it up to see what it was like. I know it's really really short, but it is really really interesting. So it really interesting. But I'll talk about that when we get into the main section of the podcast as well. So if you want to know what I think of Silent Hill, a short message, make sure you catch the next segment. And speaking of next segments, Tom, this segue is actually going to bring the listener to our discussion of the state of play. So let's get there
Or
now.
will it?
I don't know. Hopefully. Okay, so the Sony January state of play, Tomahawk, was 42 minutes long. I think it was in the end. 42 minutes long. And in that 42 minutes, Sony showed us 15 games, but announced 16 games. So I'll rattle through the list of what Sony showed us last night in 42 minutes. It was jam packed. So the show started with Helldivers 2. And then we went into Stellar Blade, a wee bit of a deep dive on Stellar Blade. Then we had Sonic X Shadow Generations, which was a weird sort of choice, but okay. Then we had Zenless Zone Zero, ZZZ, just to annoy the American listeners, all the 14% of our listener
ZZZ.
base. We had Foam Stars, which is, of course, it's had a beta, it's had a demo. It comes out tomorrow on PlayStation Plus. It's really good fun. Play it. And then we had Dave the Diver X Godzilla. So David Diver's finally coming to PlayStation, which is great. And then we had V Rising, which is a top-down 2D action role-play and survival game. And then we had Metro, the PSVR version. We had Legendary Tales, another PSVR title. And then we had the big hitters are coming up now. Silent
Excellent.
Hill, a short message, which was shadow dropped onto PSN last night. Silent Hill 2 remake. Ken Levine's Judas. Capcom's Dragon's Dogma 2. And then we had the show ended with Rise of the Ronin and Death Stranding 2. And then, just as a little.
Until Dawn as well.
Until Dawn as
Shoehorned
well.
in there, the remake.
And then
Remaster? Reimagining?
So that's 17 games. And then we had a little teaser at the very end with Herman Hulst and Hideo Kojima fist bumping and saying that they're working on a new action espionage title?
Espionage title.
And that is called I don't even know how to pronounce it. Sicent?
I'm gonna go with.
It looks like a portmanteau of physical intelligence. If I was going to hazard a guess, that's what I'm going to say that was. But that was the show. 42 minutes, a new game on average every 4 minutes, effectively. Crazy, jam-packed show. Really
humongous.
Really exciting to watch. Really good. Not without its flaws. We are not going to bore the listeners here of talking about 17 games in detail, especially one we know nothing about other than it is action espionage and it's called Side.
If you want to see our live reactions, go to the VOD on twitch.tv. That will, if you want to be bored of our live reactions, do that. That's probably the best way to do that one.
There was a lot said in that stream last night. A lot said.
That went on a lot longer than I would dare admit, to be honest. But
yes,
this is more of a we've let the dust settle. We're gonna kind of discuss the more so the heavy hitters, more so the bigger titles to expect.
Yeah, these are the titles that stood out to us, Tomahawk. We've picked 5 or 6 of them, and we'll sort of talk about them and try to give a more balanced opinion on these games than what we were able to muster last night. Wild. If you want to watch it, twitch.tv and go to the VODs. There's a whole heaps of things said there. But
it was great.
But the first game, and looking at this, our games are all in the back end of the show, so they are the bigger titles, the titles we knew the least about. I think it's a fair assumption to make here. The first one we're going to talk about is Silent Hill, a short message, which was shadow dropped onto PSN.
Fantastic.
We knew nothing about it either, which was the most exciting part of it. We knew nothing about it. It is a first-person Silent Hill set in a block of flats, and it is a corridor walker in which things occur. Sounds a lot like
beat around the bush. It will not beat around the bush there. It's absolutely PT from the dead. That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it is. I stuck it on the plate. I downloaded it this afternoon. Had a very, very, very quick go on it. Basically, all I got was the flavor for the story. So, basically, you play a young girl. You get a text message from a friend. Can you come meet me at this block of flats? This block of flats is well known in the local area for having a lot of suicides occur in it. And then when you get there, you are texting your friend, why are we meeting here? Do you not know what this place is? And it's like, oh, just don't worry about it. Come on inside. You go into the flats and the door disappears. And you get a follow-up message from your friend saying, you can only get out once you find it. Now, I don't know what it is, but I'm looking forward to finding out over the next 1 hour or 2 hours of gameplay that this game has.
That's it, yeah. No, it's one of those ones that once it dropped and we've had that time to kind of digest on it. And obviously now that it's been released, a lot of reviewers and stuff have had their hands on and have been able to kind of release a bit more to it. I think it's going to be one of those stories that has quite a powerful and relevant message. Sort of embedded in the gameplay.
Yeah, so the developers have in their press release, of course, they give, this is what this game is why we made it, this is the message we want to give out. So basically, the message of this is all about the added stress and mental fatigue that social media and the internet is causing the young people of today. I think it's a really relevant message. It looks beautiful. It is a really, really, really good looking game. It's not like photorealistic. Like when PT dropped, it looked real, but it has a very distinct look, and it is. I think it's going to be a really effective horror game. I really do.
Yeah.
The trailer that was shown in the state of play was
Just
spectacularly
it
good.
just grabbed your attention off the bat. My only fear for it is it gonna just bombard you with, if there's a jump scare to be had, it's gonna throw one at you, or is it gonna be a nicer pace to the game is what I'm hoping for. Like I don't want it to just to be scary, scary, scary. I kind of want it to be like first scary moment, let you breathe, progress the story, then the next big thing's gonna happen. But
Yeah, see, that's the way PT was. People have like I understand it because a lot of the PT discourse back in what 2015
mhm,
was uh, Markiplier and PewDiePie and all those like that was the era of jump scare overreaction. Let's scream as loud as we can in the microphone and get millions and millions of subscribers. And you got like the sort of highly edited videos. It just went from jump scare to jump scare. But actually, playing PT, it was not a relentlessly jump scare game. It was relentlessly impacting and it was relentlessly scary. But a lot of the scares was made in your own head. You know, every time you
it's
went
the
through
fear
that
of being,
door,
yeah.
it's like what's going to be here next, and then you hear little scratches and things like that. It's a Silent Hill's always been a lot more psychologically impacting and psychologically horror than like Resident Evil, for example.
Rather than
I
in
don't
your face horror, yeah, yeah.
I don't believe it's going to be jump scare, jump scare, jump scare. I think it'll start off very very slowly and then ramp it up, ramp it up, ramp it up. I'm really excited to get through it. I think what the developers are hoping here is there hasn't been a new Silent Hill game in a very long time. I think the last one I can remember was Downpour,
Yeah,
and it
about right
wasn't
there.
well
It wasn't well
received.
received, exactly.
The previous three also weren't well received. Even if you go back as far as Silent Hill 4 The Room, at the time of release, that was hammered.
Hmm.
And it's one of those games where your first playthrough is going to be really difficult because you can soft lock in so many places. You'll make mistakes that will make the game harder for yourself. But once you play Silent Hill 4 The Room the second time, or the third time, or the fourth time,
It becomes more enjoyable that way
you
because
know
you're,
the rules and you
yeah.
know what mistakes to avoid. And Silent Hill 4, for all its faults, and it is rough, Silent Hill 4 is a really good horror game, but
Hmm.
it's probably the last really good one.
It's interesting. This one seems a bit like we know. I think that PT has like this unattainable standard in maybe the Silent Hill fan base. I
Mhm.
think this is either an apology or a redemption. So I
Yeah.
think a lot of people playing. Uh, Obviously, this is going to be out for a couple of days by the time this episode drops. So
Hmm.
do let us know
Yeah.
if
What you
that's the
thought of it?
case. Actually, that would be
Yeah.
really. I think that's going to be really good
I,
because we're all definitely playing it.
I'm really looking forward to seeing the Twitch streams of
Yes,
Silent Hill. I think
the
that's going to
first
be
playthroughs are going to be joyous
incredible.
to watch.
Incredible. But I want to play it first. I want to play it myself. I don't want to have anything
uh,
spoiled on it. But no, I'm really looking forward to playing it. It does seem, I think it has a really important message about being relentlessly online and the impact it can have on your mental well being and things like that. So I think it has the potential to be great. It really does have the potential to be great. I thought it was going to be like an episodic thing, but no.
it
Apparently,
just seems
according
to
to the
be a
developers,
straight up
it's a
2 hour.
standalone.
Yeah.
And if they've made it free, because I think as an apology to Silent Hill fans for all the dredge they've rolled out of the production line. And what I'm hoping and what they're hoping is that this is really really good, and it sucks people in for the next game we're going to talk about here, which is Silent Hill 2 remake.
There was a lot said about this on the Twitch
There
on
was,
Wednesday past.
there was. I don't know where to start with it.
It's not good. And I think the
No.
general high scores, high stakes thought is it's not good. It hasn't been well received across the social platforms either. I
Hmm.
think I linked you guys earlier the other day to a handful of Twitter reviews essentially
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
I said to you the other day, I think this looks like, because the one thing that got me from the first initial reveal was 2024 confirmed, locked in, whatever. This now showed you the gameplay, and then the Silent Hill 2 title came up, and we were hit with in development for PlayStation 5, which screams it's been rolled back for
It's been
one reason or another.
it's been knocked back for some reason. I could think of a few just from watching that trailer last night. The first thing I want to say is the trailer for it was not a particularly well cut or put together trailer. There was very little cohesion in it. It just seemed to
I
jump around an awful lot, and it
felt
showed a
like they
lot
just wanted to show you elements, yeah, rather than like a story or give you the I'm not well versed in Silent Hill at the best of times, but I would have liked to have had a bit of a narrative, put into the trailers and stuff at least anyway.
Yeah, but there was none of that. There was none apart from the opening cinematic of James in the block of flats walking towards the hole in the wall and stepping into the next building and things like that. But there was nothing. It struck me as they were focused on making Silent Hill 2, but rather than reimagining it, just here's Silent Hill 2 again. But they
Yeah.
focused on all the wrong elements of Silent
The
Hill 2.
combat straight away was the bit
Combat,
that blew my mind because the combat's not what Silent Hill is known for.
no. Well, it is, but
So
it's never been good.
that's it. I mean, like, yeah, it's not like James as a character isn't this. He's not Jack Reacher at the end of the day.
He's not a merc. A merc. He's
Yeah,
just an ordinary dude who's found himself in a scenario in which he doesn't belong, and it's always been the way. It's always been the way. Silent Hill, but the trailer is just non-stop blowing weird creatures' faces off with a shotgun, and that had me worried. Bluebird Team. I think I said it in the episode where we were talking about the games I'm most looking forward to. I said Silent Hill 2, but I did say I was very, very worried about it because of the silence. Now that they've broken their silence, I'm somehow more worried about Silent Hill 2. I think graphically, now I'm not a graphic snob. I like my retro games. I'll play a game regardless of what it looks like, but I was expecting Silent Hill 2 to be a generational jump really
yeah,
from Resident Evil 2 remake, but Resident Evil 2 remake looks better.
better and more polished than this. Yeah,
Like looking at Silent Hill 2 remake, it looks like it was being developed for the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One X. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really the graphics don't really matter. As long as the game is good. But I don't know. It just looks like Bloober Team have went. Oh, there was a lot of shooting in this game, wasn't there? Like, can they just do
they've
that?
cherry picked the elements now,
Yeah,
but
and
it's such a strange regression nearly because I thought that the original reveal trailer looked
looked
pretty
amazing.
good, and it was I remember it saying captured with PlayStation 5, so it's in-engine stuff, and then to actually showing Cinemax is one thing, to then show the gameplay, and I think I pointed this out on the actual like live stream we did on it. There's a very distinct quality drop once
Hmm.
it goes from cinematic into gameplay, which at this day and age, in this sort of era we're at with gaming,
Hmm.
should be indistinguishable.
It should be seamless. It should be
Yeah,
seamless. Yeah, I've got lots of issues with it. I couldn't really articulate what I was trying to say last night, but Silent Hill. The thing I like about Silent Hill the most is that it uses environmental storytelling an awful lot. So every environment is crafted and designed. Every room, every single corridor you go into, there's little elements that sort of help you understand what's going on and what the story's about. Um, and in that trailer, and I get that it was a very, very small snippet of what we're looking to get, but everything just seemed to be utter darkness
yeah.
apart from where you were looking. I know Resident Evil 2 did that as well, but Resident Evil 2 was also very, very detailed in its environments. But and maybe this will be the same, but from what I saw last night, the key element of Silent Hill is the environments, and they looked very bland and very drab, and there was nothing in that trailer to get me excited. I am a huge Silent Hill 2 fan. I'm a massive horror game
Aye,
fan.
that's
If
it.
in case
Yeah,
anyone hasn't noticed in what the 40 odd episodes we've done of this here, but there was very little in that to get me excited. Very
that's
little of
it.
it.
Especially when we knew it was having this release window of 2024, to then to shout to go in development sounds like we're not getting it this year. Really?
It sounds like a delay. The only thing I could think of with this, and I think I said it after the stream as well on the Twitch stream, was it struck me as they were building it on Unreal Engine 4, and at some point someone said we need to move this onto Unreal Engine 5. It's the only thing I could think of that would, justify the downgrade almost. I mean,
That's it. Yeah.
the only thing that has me excited about this game is the fact that it's called Silent Hill 2. But
That's it.
beyond that,
In name alone, really.
I have no faith in Bloober Team. I don't have any faith that this is going to be a great remake. If it's good and it's budget priced, like, if it's not £70, I'll probably pick it up and I will play it. But if it is £70, I will be waiting for a discount.
PlayStation Plus, nearly.
I'll be waiting for a discount, a hefty discount, like £39.99.
I just remember the look on your face. Actually, it just was a picture, and it massively distracted you from the game that followed. Actually,
Yes. I think I said it is. I've never been more disappointed in a game reveal than what I have been with Silent Hill 2, and it did massively pull my attention away from Ken Levine's Judas.
So yeah, Judas. Let's talk about Judas.
Yeah, Judas, Ken Levine's latest game and his first game since BioShock
10 years?
Infinite. First game in 10 years, 11 years nearly. 11 years. Talk to me.
I'm going to count the DLC anyway. So the nice 10 years is a nice round number, and I think it was a bit of a breath of fresh air, really, because what I thought was beautiful about it is it had that really lovely space scenery, and then you see the Mayflower come into view, and then next thing you know, your camera pulls focus, and it's it's essentially what looks like Elizabeth from BioShock Infinite. That graphical style.
She does. It's that very
animation,
distinct.
just very distinct. It's exactly
very distinct,
right.
like irrational games look to it. It's just the way the light reflects off her skin. It almost looks like porcelain, and it looks like
That's it. Yeah, it just looked beautiful. Like yes, it took a very stylized approach to how humans look, but I think especially what the BioShock series did is they create this animation style, this beautiful world, and it shows that you can tell that that's his style, and he makes it work to perfection nearly.
Yeah, it just sort of creates into it, just everything just blends into this one unified product with Ken Levine. Yes, everything looks very stylized, but then when you see the environments and they look almost unreal as well. They're very, very, very real looking, but very at the same time unreal looking, and it's a BioShock sequel, isn't it? I think if you showed me that trailer but didn't give me any context to it at all and go, "What game is that?" I would say, "Oh, it's a new BioShock," because it's a BioShock game.
Yeah, if you took away from the creators BioShock, or like break or fix what you broke or something like that, if you took all those wee captions away, I would have just went, they're taking the System Shock name and they're giving it the BioShock treatment, or they're just giving you a BioShock sequel. And then that being said, actually, it was this amazing moment where you have your character, she walks up to the computer screen and she throws the hammer away. And I think that was nearly a lovely nod to, we're moving away from this intro weapon. I have a feeling this game's just going to be balls to the wall. You're going to get pretty much a lot of basic sort of plasmids, quote unquote.
Yep.
And you're just going to be thrown into chaos straight off the bat, I think.
Yeah, it just everything about it, the whole, every time you use a power, your hands seem to change as well. I think you talked about that in the stream, where it looks like everything's...
They look like they were 3D printed, like your like hands were 3D rendered to suit what power up you've chosen at the time.
Yeah, it looks great. I think it looks great. It sounds amazing as well. The whole like press release for it is all about, you're Judas, you live in this space station. The space station is designed to be a perfect place, where if you're not a perfect citizen, then everyone else is, expected and to spy on each other. And if anyone is not perfect, then they kill each other effectively, and your character is called Judas, so the game's just named after the character, and you're designed almost to be like the perfect citizen, but for some reason don't you haven't wanted that role. So you have started this revolution on the Mayflower, and the game just seems to be designed around. They talk about, your decisions are going to change how the game pans out. You will see things that no other player will, all this here sort of stuff. And it just sounds like it's going to be a lot of do this or do that, do whatever you want, go, good or bad playthroughs and see how the story progresses. I'm really excited to see what that means gameplay
Yeah, I'm
wise
hoping it's not
because
just so much definitive choices because I remember the
yeah.
way Bioshock used to be. It just was devour the little sister or save it. It was quite clear cut in your options. Whereas from what we were discussing earlier about this,
Hmm.
the press release on this is feels as if it's how you interact with the other characters. It's how you do something to slight another character impacts the
how
progression with
how
that
everyone
relationship.
else
Yeah,
views you. I am hoping for like a Fallout New Vegas system where there's no binary choice. Well, there are binary choices, of course they are, but the binary choices impact the sort of different factions of different
it's an
characters.
honor
And
system. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but I'm hoping for a bit more than just that. I would love to see, and it's a gameplay system that's I've only ever seen being used in two games, and I don't understand why. Well, I do understand why because Warner Brothers patented it after those two games. But like, do you remember Shadow of Mordor?
I do, yes.
And they had that system. I can't remember what they called it, but it sort of shaped how the orcs saw you. The Nemesis system. I would love to see that
Yes.
in this game.
Oh, yes, yes.
Something along those lines. Let's see that, and let's see it in action in a Ken Levine. What looks to be a possible Game of the Year contender. It could be great.
Absolutely. No, it's very strong. This one as well just got a 24 release. I don't
Yeah,
think it got
just
anything
24,
beyond that.
but it
So I
looks
think this could be
spectacular.
mid to late 24, I think, on this. But I think it when a lot of the story is kind of told through it's like it's all her reflections on
Hmm.
surfaces, and it's just like, right, let's get ready for chaos. And it's like, do you want to cause system meltdown? And she's like, affirmative, let's do it.
Let's do it.
So I'm all for it. I like, but I think Bioshock Infinite kind of did something similar. They didn't just go, right, we're going to kind of build to what's going on. You are the defining reason there's chaos. You are the sole purpose for the chaos around you.
Hmm.
Figure it out, work around it, make the game your own. Like,
Yep, I'm very excited to see what the big nemesis is. Ken Levine loves his big nemesis here. You had the big daddies in Bioshock. You had the little sisters in Bioshock 2, and then you
yeah,
had the big owl
the
in
owl and
Infinite,
Comstock in Infinite as
which
well. Yes.
unreal. I'm really excited to see where that game goes. I want to see more of it. And I want to see more of it right now. Ken Levine, I, I know you're listening. Let's see more of this game because it looks absolutely
It was a
stunning.
nice, it was a really nice change of pace, and it just was action, action, action off the back of something. I know it took Lover a second watch at this because he was still in a bit of a haze
Yes,
after what had
it did.
happened, but I think something special is
It
on the
very much
cards
could
for
be.
that.
It could be very, very, very special indeed. And it just looks great. It's of all the games, it's probably it's one of the ones I'm most looking forward to, and I want to see more of it, and I want to see more of it now because I did have to
Yeah.
rewatch it after the showcase to see actually what was going on and what it was, and I was like, all right, I was unfair to that at the
But that's
time.
what you want. That's what you wanted a reveal trailer as well. I know this may be the second trailer for it that has been released in the
Hmm.
last couple of months, but this one gave you a bit of gameplay, a bit of mechanics in the game as well. So, and it just gripped. It absolutely had my attention from the second that trailer opened,
Yeah,
and I'm all for it.
yeah, me too. Me too. It looks great. And then that brings us on to then is a game that's going to be out really, really soon. If memory serves me right, this is same day as Dragon Dogma 2, which is March 22nd,
March 22nd is right.
which is Ninja Theories Rise of the Ronin. Oh, sorry, Team Ninja? Team Ninja?
Team
Rise of the
Ninja.
Ronin, which is a open world, historically set samurai game.
That's it. We said this sort of on the Twitch thread. This is very much like Ghost of Tsushima meets Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, Yeah, or Assassin's
Big or
Creed
Assassin's
style.
Creed, that kind
Hmm.
of say. It's gonna have a big, huge open world, really immersive story,
High
tons
traversal.
of stuff to do. The map traversal just looked incredible. I kind of thought to myself, all right, is it just gonna be horseback? Are you gonna have to like find your fast point posts and then just
Yeah.
work it that way? And then next thing you know, his wee wings, his wingsuit showed up, and I'm
Y-
going, we've got map traversal,
Yeah,
incredible.
the traversal looks like it's going to be right up there with like what did you call it? Just Cause.
Yeah,
That's the vibes I
the
got
grapple
from it.
hook, yeah, because he's got the
Was there's a
grapple hook,
grapple
he's got the
hook,
wings.
the glider, and then he had it was so seamless. Like I took now Rise of the Ronin is getting rinsed online, um, rinsed online because of the way it looks. Now Rise of the Ronin, I think looks perfectly fine, but it's just maybe not. It's not the Last of Us sort of level. It's not. It looks better than Red Dead Redemption 2 from a technical aspect, but
Yeah,
it doesn't look better than Red Dead Redemption 2 because Red Dead Redemption 2 looks absolutely stunning because of everything else that was baked into Red Dead Redemption 2. It looks absolutely fine, but because it doesn't look absolutely cutting edge, it's getting rinsed online.
that's it.
Um,
Yeah, I think everyone thinks because it's on PS5, it needs to be. As
Next
like
level.
we've said, photorealistic a lot today, and I think that that's what people are expecting. But
Yeah.
I just don't think it's the studio.
To do it,
It's not in the studio's remit to be
it's,
able to do that though. So
Team
they
Ninja's
have to work in their
always
means. Yeah.
Team Ninja's always been about melee combat. They had what the Ninja Gaiden series Neo,
Hmm.
and neither of those two games when they were released looked particularly cutting edge, but people remember them because they were great, great, great games. This looks like a
That's
great
it.
game.
So if the fighting mechanic is solid and seamless, especially going between your grapple and hook, your sword, and your glider,
Hmm.
I don't see how this is going to be anything. As long as the story needs to be engaging, I think as well for what I can imagine is going to be a 40-50 hour
Yeah, I would say 30 or 40
possibly
hour.
story.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The thing that got me the most excited for it was obviously I think the combat system because the combat showed a little bit of combat like one-on-one sword fights looked like Neo to me. It just looked like Neo. Like I never beat Neo because I'm not good enough to be honest. But the sword battles in Neo were spectacularly good, like really good.
Hmm.
You know why? Like everyone's like, I want that Star Wars game that has really good lightsaber fights. That's Neo. Just put a Star Wars skin on top of Neo, and you'll have the best
A
lightsaber
great.
fighting game you've ever
Yeah,
seen.
exactly.
But what
I,
got me most excited about this was the traversal. So the trailer opens up with we just walking through like a village, and then he grapple hooks onto the roof of like a bank or whatever it was, runs along the roof, jumps off, glides, and then whilst gliding calls his horse, and then seamlessly comes off
just
the glider onto the horseback and just takes off. I mean, it just
it
looks
looked
like it'll
really, really
be
good.
great, great, great fun. And
There was
obviously,
that one sketchy moment where the guard on the tower gets pulled off from the
yes, yes, that was
with the
brilliant.
grappling hook.
So we said that on the stream was he grapple hooks a guard off his tower, and it looked to us that the guard got back up and was pathfinding his way back, almost as if he wasn't aware that he'd just been, there's an enemy standing in front of
Ripped
him.
off his, yeah.
And then
Oh,
and then they attacked him, and then the combat started. But yes, that was sketchy. I don't know if that's what it was, but it is certainly what it looked
it's
like to
interesting
me.
for a game that is pretty much a finished product to kind of watch that was quite amusing for that's their big reveal before the game is released. Like I get that maybe the combat is demoed in a situation that they've nearly dummied it down
Hmm.
for the sake of let's show it off. I think
Accessibility.
when we I think once we get the full product and it's being rigorously field tested by
Yeah.
streamers and avid gamers, now it's going to be a whole other. The difficulty rev up will be noticeable, I think.
Yeah, I would dare say it's going to have to, and I would dare say things like that with the guard will be, it's going to go gold soon, which means that it's finished. But they'll obviously every game nowadays comes with a 20 or 30 gig day one patch to get rid of
Patch.
issues like that. There's also a little bit of like texture pop in and stuff on it, but nothing major. I think it looked really, really good fun. I'm actually I'm seriously considering banning a dev release rather than Dragon's Dogma 2.
Okay. Yeah,
Betraying
I think if
Capcom
I
here.
think if it's I think if it's that's two sides of that coin, I'd be going with Rise of the more so than Dragon's Dogma. I
Hmm.
think I have enough swords and sandals going on.
Yeah, I
I
mean it's
can't
that
commit
simple.
more.
I mean, as much as I love Capcom, I just want something different.
It's a bit fresher as
And
well. I do enjoy
Rise.
like Ghost of Tsushima's there on my list as well, so why not? I think more Far East
See,
content.
Rise of the Ronin for me looks like it's telling like a really what's the word, like personal story. So it's going to
Yeah,
be about your character, but obviously it's going to be important for the developers being Japanese and telling it is historically based as well. Because
that's it.
when the
Yeah.
demo opened, it's give you the town name and the year. So I reckon it could be. I think it could be spectacularly good. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to seeing the reviews for it because it should, in my opinion, it'll probably get mid 80s. I think Ghost of Tsushima finished off on Metacritic with 87. I think that's probably hit 81, 82. Um,
Yeah, we're in and around that
yeah, but
low
it
to mid
looks
range,
really
but
really good fun. It's got pedigree behind it. And speaking of pedigree behind a game, we'll mention this one
this,
in passing. Tomahawk.
this got me excited. This did get me really
It
excited.
did,
Actually, it didn't need. I don't think it needs to exist,
but you're
but
glad
I'm
it
gonna play it
does.
anyway. I'm gonna get it anyway.
Yeah,
So
it's a
it's
game that
until dawn.
It's a game
I'm
that
gonna
I
just go
bought
straight
three
in.
times. So it is. I I bought it digitally, I bought it physically, and then for some reason redeemed the PS Plus version of it too. Until
Why
Dawn.
not?
Until Dawn's getting a. Is it a? It did say the trailer remade from the ground up for PlayStation 5 and PC.
So
So
it's
that was their
a
first announcement. It's coming to PC.
That's it. That was the big. I think that was the big stick, like the big point to drive home was it's getting a PC port.
Mhm.
It's also getting a rework.
Yes.
Is how they phrased it. Yeah.
After the stream, during the stream, we were talking about why does this exist. I said that I think the big reason for it is it runs at a really low frame rate on the PlayStation 4. It's not particularly smooth. Even on PlayStation 5, it's not particularly smooth. It does bring it up to about, I think it's about 30 frames a second on PlayStation 5, but that's fine because there was no patch for it to upgrade anything on it. I think I said as well that if you play it back to back with like the Quarry,
Which
it's
I
dated.
did. Yeah. It's
Hmm.
noticeable. Like I think when you're playing it isolated, it still is a great
It's
game.
a
It's
great
still a
game.
really good looking game. But as you say, when you play it back to back with the likes of the Quarry or the
Yeah, the
Dark
darker
Pictures,
pictures.
if you compare to the rest of the Supermassive catalog, it's aged by comparison.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's 10 years old, isn't it? It's
Exactly.
it's ten
Yeah.
years old now, so it's a nice way. I think back through time, people are on the line and going, "Why does this exist? It's only 10 years old." I remember people losing their minds when Tomb Raider anniversary came out when Tomb Raider was 10 years of age. I remember people losing their minds when Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary came out 10 years old. People argue, and rightfully so, that the generational jump between PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 forward slash PlayStation 3 was huge, and it was, but
Yeah.
I think there's nothing wrong with taking a great game that isn't running as the developers intended.
It's
Obviously,
elevation. It's
yeah.
elevating a pretty solid game with a good solid fan base, and I think it's nothing but a service. I think from what
Hmm.
we were talking about there, it's getting a brand new score. It's getting a lot of new texture, upgrades. It's getting from what I could see from that trailer, it looks like they've took all the actors back for motion capture as
We
well. Because
They
Hayden
would have
Panettiere
to
looks she
older.
looks older and more mature.
Hmm. Uh,
I
I
think so.
I think they would have to. It's not like the mocap and stuff is not something you can just upres without having them back in without re-recording some of the stuff. So they've definitely
That's it. And
have.
they did say they're going to start to change things. It's going to how you play the game is going to be a slight different perception on the original. So I'm
Hmm.
excited for it. this will be a game I quadruple dip into,
Yeah,
no doubt.
absolutely. Yes, they're talking about on the press release fest. They talk about new perspectives to the story, new scenes, new decisions to be made, new collectibles. They're going to, have more places to explore. They've also said about that third person perspective, so as well. So they'll be behind the character as well, which
It's
would be a
interesting
massive change.
if it's this blend between fixed camera, which Until Dawn did so well,
Hmm.
and over the shoulder, which is what the Quarry made that gameplay look so good as well.
Hmm.
If we get a nice blend of that too, we could be on for like I'm we're in the age of remakes, so
Yeah, that's it. I actually never noticed that about the Quarry. The Quarry does use a combination of fixed perspective and third person. I've never noticed that
that's
before.
it.
It's going to be that. I think it'll be really good. My hope for it is one, that it's budget priced, and two, that um, they sort of build it into the Dark Pictures anthology sort of
It's incorporate into the
universe.
universe that they've built. Why not? It's there and it's ripe for the
And
taking.
it's,
If you can find a way, because the trailer was very the therapist driven. It was his
mm,
dialogue that was driving the point of the
yeah,
of the story. Tie him into the curator. Tie him in some way. He could be the deranged cousin. Who knows? Like
who knows? It'll be so
make
good.
it work,
I,
and it's make sense. And it'll make sense. That's it.
I absolutely love the curator, man. It's
Hmm.
fantastic. But yeah, did you see the secondary news as well? That they're making an
No.
Until Dawn movie.
Oh, I did see this.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's a lot of the original. I think it is the original cast for the most part.
I don't know about that, but that would make perfect sense. If you're going to use the original cast, then you can mocap them for the game. So I would dare say that this is going to be a late 2024 game, possibly October for Halloween. Release the
That would be
movie,
a good shout,
release the
actually.
game simultaneously. So people go into the cinema, hopefully the movie's good, they enjoy it, and they come out, and the last trailer before the start of the movie can be Until Dawn.
By the game, here's the game. It supplement each other.
Stop
I
off
hope
at your
that they
nearest
if that
Best Buy.
if that's the case, I hope they pick the bad endings and then just air that.
Do you know what I would love them to do? I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but there used to be a big in the early '90s. You're not old enough to remember this. In the early '90s, there was all these. There was a big push on TV for like choose your own. So there was these TV shows where they would have like little windows for voting, where you would ring in, just dial a number,
Oh
and it
yeah,
would cast your vote.
yeah. I'm aware of this. Yeah, yeah.
Mate, we live in the age of the smartphone. So
Netflix
let's
did
go
it
to the
with
cinema and let's
Netflix did it with
download an Until
Black
Dawn
Mirror.
app, and then let's make choices. And each screen has a different ending. That'd be brilliant.
And
And it would keep the
that's the
core of
way
the
to
game.
tie in. That's the way that you tie into
But,
your
but
dark pictures and stuff as
that's
well.
exactly what this is for. This is exactly for there's a movie. They must have hopes for the movie to be good. The director's not bad. It's the guy who
He's got a
did
good
It Chapter
pedigree
2.
behind. Yeah.
Yeah, but then he also did The Nun, so
Oh, I
who
like the
knows?
Nun. I
Who
like the
knows?
Nun. The Nun was a good old horror film, but it's got the backing behind it to be it's a great game anyway. I'm gonna play
It
it.
is.
I think
I'm
lock
buying it.
that one. We'll box that away
I'm buying it, and I
for
hope
release.
hoping it's like 29.99, 39.99. I hope it's a budget price game. I
I
think
hope it's a
it's
£10. I hope it's a £10 upres
upgrade.
fee.
Oh, imagine that. I'd be all for that actually.
I'd pay that in a heartbeat.
And speaking of things that I am right up for, it's Hideo Kojima time,
We're back.
baby. We're back, and he has brought with him his new Death Stranding. Who is it called? Welcome to the Beach. Was that the subtitle?
On the beach.
And it just looks like a Hideo Kojima game. The graphics are. I, I I don't say this with hyperbole or anything, but the graphics are the best graphics I've ever seen in a video game. I mean, there was points in that trailer where it looked photorealistic, like, and I
Hmm.
mean photorealistic. Norman Reedus just looks like Norman Reedus. The environments look like you could go there today on a plane and walk through the same environments. It looked photorealistic.
Exactly.
It just looked incredible, and the delivery of the performances from especially Travis Baker, man. That man's next level, isn't he?
Oh, he's just
Like,
phenomenal. He's just
mate.
like,
But my memory of this is his character gets revealed, and he is presumably in a rock band.
it looked like it. He was very much. He had like the Kiss makeup
Like
and
Alice Cooper style makeup, but he was wearing like a light armor, almost like Grey Fox in Metal Gear
yeah.
Solid. Um, and he is having this discussion with Sam Bridges, and then robots bust in like mules, but
All
they were
these like sentry
robots.
droids. Yeah.
And then all hell breaks loose, and Travis Baker gets into a fight with these robots with swords, but he is using a guitar that is a sword. And my memory of this is Cardinal Smith coming into our Twitch chat and going, "What is this?" Like, it's Death Stranding
I mean,
2, baby.
if there's ever a way to join a
Wow.
chat, no context, it was that. To be honest, I, I will say I haven't played the first one. I've sort of done the kind of tutorial-y. Here's the controls. Here's how you like work the map, and
Walk the
here's how you go
president to
looking.
the furnace.
Yeah, basically. I it's a game that requires too much man hours for what we do.
Yes, I mean, I think I said this last night during the stream. I've put substantial amount of hours in that game. I've put 30 hours in, and I'm on chapter 7 of 15. 15 chapters.
Gosh,
One's
this
a
is a
prologue,
game.
an
This
epilogue,
is it.
sorry.
Now the the trailer alone has made me want to go back
Yes.
and kind of just like, even if I have to force myself to play it for the sake of getting to the sequel. Now the lucky thing is the sequel is we're not getting until
Until
2025,
2020, confirmed
so
2025, yeah.
it gives us time. But the thing is, this is what sort of blew my mind about the 25 release, and especially for what we did see.
Hmm.
Like,
There's a lot of game there done.
there's a lot of game there done. There's a lot of key story elements that are probably done. It's probably just a case of let's stitch it all together.
Yeah.
Let's pad it. What needs padding out, and uh, I think this is gonna. I think this is probably gonna be part 2 of a trilogy. I have a feeling this just sort of.
I mean, from where I thought the story is going to go in Death Stranding, I'm surprised there's a sequel.
Okay.
To be quite honest with you, I don't know how it ends, but from the vibes I was getting, even as early as chapter 7, I was getting vibes that it was going to have a definitive end. And I think in that trailer last night, I was like, "Oh, this is a massive spoiler." And I think it was originally intended to have a definitive end, but then we live in a world where a video game that is 97% walking through beautiful environments with boxes on your back and delivering them to people across America has got a sequel. No, it wasn't even like a major commercial success. It sold all right in PlayStation 4, but on Steam it didn't do any really big numbers.
Yeah.
It's just Hideo Kojima being Hideo Kojima, and
It's the name more than anything. I think that is pulling weight.
this is what got me right. Hideo Kojima is one of the, well, it's maybe not so much anymore, but he's one of those game developers that even casual gamers would know the name of because obviously it's on the cover of every game he's ever done. But
Aye, that's it. Yes.
it, is he is he part of a dying breed? Is Hideo Kojima almost one of a kind now? I mean, you have Hideo Kojima, you have Shigeru Miyamoto, and you have Yu Suzuki and things like that. I mean, Nintendo, flip, I can't remember his name. I just said it and I can't remember his name. But he's in his
It's been a
sixth.
long day.
He's in his 60s. You know, Yo Suzuki, he's in his 60s and hasn't made like a game since Shenmue 3, and before that was, Shenmue 2. Is Hideo Kojima part of a dying breed of
This is it.
auteur video game creators?
Thing is, though, I think Kojima is he's now that he's sort of untethered, he's allowed to kind of push boundaries. This is it.
That's
He's
it.
unchained. He's doing now everything off his own back. There's no
Corporate.
limitations really at the minute.
Yeah.
So I think he's allowed to kind of push the boat, and if the announcement after Death Stranding
Yeah.
2 was anything to go by, I don't think he's any sign of stopping now, especially with what he's working on with the Sony partnership. He's working with Jordan Peele and Xbox.
Yep.
He's doing an awful lot across the board, and I don't think I don't think he's stretching thin. I have a feeling that everything he works on all these platforms are going to be like good fan service games. They're also going to be good commercial successes as well. So, and Sony are hedging a lot of bets on him with this. Their his other release post Death Stranding
Yep.
2 as well. So,
Yep. Yeah. It's funny because he is a creator who does what he wants, and all through his career, he's done what he wants. His relationship with Konami fell apart when someone said, "No, actually, you can't do what you want. There's budgets and there's money and there's time
there's restraints.
constraints in
There's
this
actually
job." And he fell out and finished Metal Gear Solid 5 and then just jumped ship, and left Silent Hills in limbo. But but he's, for all of his faults, and he does have a lot of faults. He is very introspective, but he also is very much aware of what's going on in the world as well. He's no
that's it.
dozer. He's incredibly intelligent. He's become almost efficient in what he's doing. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Correct me if I'm wrong. Death Stranding came out in 2018.
Death Stranding is very much a metaphor for pandemic. Essentially, became
Yeah, it became
really
really relevant in 2020. But
exactly.
that
It's
came out in 2018, right? And then Death Stranding Director's Cut came out the year of the pandemic, 2020. We are now in 2024. We're getting this game next year. And then we're going to get his next one in about 2027, 27,
26,
28.
27, yeah.
Um, he's becoming efficient with what he's doing. Plus, wasn't there that downloadable Zone of the Enders game somewhere in there as well? He's he's a
Yeah.
man that comes into these big corporations. Clearly, he's very good pitcher of ideas, and he's got PlayStation funding this, funding his next game. He's got Xbox funding that thing with Jordan Peele, whoever that's going to be. There's no doubt in my mind he's probably going to do a fourth game for PC as well. And he's banging these games out left and right. It's mad because his games are so. I don't know what the budget is for Death Stranding, man, but it must be enormous. Like it must dwarf everything Sony's doing. And
Death Stranding 2, sorry, yeah.
yeah, because it looks photorealistic. I've never seen a game look quite like
That's
it.
it, yeah. So
It
Death
just looks
Stranding
incredible.
2
And I know
budget.
Sony have licensed the Decima engine and stuff like that, which, can I just say, is one of the most impressive game engines I've ever seen. That's
So
powers everything.
for context, the Death Stranding budget, Death Stranding 1 was
Yeah.
$100 million.
So this, I mean, tripling it,
You could
conservatively
be
speaking.
well within you could be well in the $250 million range
You're talking
easily.
Grand Theft Auto money. Like, I think
But
Grand
this
Theft
is the
Auto.
thing, though. This game will go like GTA 5 got such flack for the budget
Yeah,
and how much money it cost.
it was the most
Whereas this
expensive.
will probably be, whereas Death Stranding will be Death Stranding 2 will be equally as expensive, but the cost won't be an issue apparently.
Because it's Kojima, and if you think about, yeah, I remember when Grand Theft Auto came out. You're right; it got I think it was like £300 million, and everyone's like, "That's crazy money." It was the most expensive piece of entertainment media ever created at the time. I think it still might be, but the success of Grand Theft Auto 5 has been crazy, and it's paid back Rockstar, it's paid back Take-Two multiple times over. I mean, the money that's raked in is crazy. Death Stranding
And
2,
continues to, yeah.
Death Stranding 2 is not going to bring in Grand Theft Auto money. It just isn't.
No.
But it's Hideo Kojima. He does what he wants, and Hideo, keep it coming because I want more of it. I need more of it. I am going to chip away for the rest of 2024 at Death Stranding, and I'm going to finish it. And then when Death Stranding 2 comes out, I am going to be first in line saying, "Mr. Kojima, may I have more?" and he's going to go, "Do you want to see what I had for lunch, mate?"
He's like, who are you?
I
What are you
know.
doing in my house?
Ask Yves Gilbo. He knows me. But Death Stranding 2 looks utterly,
I think
utterly, utterly incredible. And it could
it
be,
was a
I'm throwing it out there, man, right? I'm throwing it out there. I know Hideo Kojima is Marmite. Love him, hate him. There's no in between. Death Stranding 2 could define this generation of video games.
it's a bold claim.
I'm saying it.
I was gonna leave that for silence for much longer, but I thought people might think the podcast was broken. So
Clip it. Save the receipts. Save the receipts, folks, okay? See next year when Death Stranding comes out and it finishes with a 98 on Metacritic and becomes the joint highest ranked game of all time. You say, Luvva told me that. What date is it?
I nobody
February
listened.
24. Mr. Luvva Luvva said that, and he was right. And then he'll be laughing,
That's a
Tomahawk.
bold old claim. Like it actually, like it looked great. All the settings. It looks like it's gonna be continental Europe, from what I could kind of gather from that.
Indistinct, yeah, it's definitely another continent. Now, I was watching the trailer again. It talks about Mexico and stuff. But I don't know. Continental Europe, Africa, one of the two. It could be anywhere, but it just looks magnificent.
Because it looked like it was sort of based in like home base or whatever was a submarine.
Yeah, yeah,
That
it's a
was
ship.
the
Yeah,
yeah. So that was the initial thought that I got, but it it, it must have ran for about 10 minutes easily. Of
easily. Kojima stuff always does. I think when Xbox in their last game showed, I think they showed like 20 minutes of Kojima, and everyone's like, why did Kojima get 20 minutes? Why did he get 20 minutes? Because he's Hideo bloody Kojima. That's why he got
mhm.
20 minutes. And he can do what he does what he wants. The
It was
man
brilliant.
doth not care.
We got so much in that game in terms of like graphical, quality, gameplay mechanic. Cutscenes, actors,
The
all that kind of showcase
music,
stuff.
man.
We got no story context at all. You
No,
just went, you connected America, you're gonna go connect these guys,
connect these guys
get
too.
to work.
I can't wait for it. I honestly can't wait for it. I haven't even
Fetch Quest Part 2.
can't wait. Side quest the Rama. And then that brings us on then to the last thing I want to talk about. And we don't know anything about it. After Death Stranding 2 finished, Herman Hulst and Hideo Kojima met on a soundstage. And they announced that Hideo Kojima is working on a new action espionage game. And then they fist bumped. And then there was this magnificent drone shot that just pulled out, and they were in. It was at the Columbia Studios.
Columbia Studios, yeah.
Columbia Studios, which of course is owned by Sony, but on the hoarding under Columbia was the game name, which is Fiant, Pyint, Fiant. I'm
Yeah.
pronouncing it Fiant or Fiant. It could be Fiant.
Physint? Phyint?
Fiant. I'm
Yeah,
saying Fiant.
let's do that one. Let us know in the poll below. What do you think, Scient or Fiant?
Who's pronouncing it right? Luvva or Tomahawk? But we don't know anything about it. I think it's very telling that they chose the words action espionage, which of course tactical espionage action appeared in the Metal Gear Solid front cover. I don't think it's going to be Metal Gear Solid anymore because
No, I think we've
Konami are using
established
that
that
license. But it will.
they're gonna hoard that till they die. Basically, I think this is just good. We're gonna get a new franchise. They did say that as long as the Death Stranding 2 preamble is going, we're probably not going to see anything of this. I would imagine the day after Death Stranding 2 drops,
Boom.
we're going to be told everything about this game and everything about what I imagine a new franchise. I can't see
Yeah.
this being a standalone, especially not in Kojima's books anyway.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. He will want to continue the story of Solid Snake in some way, and this could be it.
Be the honorary Metal Gear 6.
I have been thinking about this, right? So Death Stranding came out 2018. We can presume he hasn't been working on Death Stranding 2 since 2018, probably 2020. So it's a 5-year turnaround time on that, okay? Let's just say 5 years, which is for a team of his size. Kojima Productions is not a big company. That's impressive. Um,
Hmm.
I think we're probably looking at 27, 28, maybe 29, which means that Hideo Kojima just announced the first PS6 game.
The way they talked about it and the endeavor, I think that's going to go into it. So they talked about Sony partnership in terms of sound effects, movie. They're going to go all in on this. This is either going to be this is either going to be the game that ends the PlayStation 5 life cycle, or as you say, kickstarts the
I
next
I think it's going to be a launch title for
generation.
PlayStation 6. I'm saying it
That's
now. It's going to be a launch title for PS6.
thing is that's it. He said we're not gonna
Show
not gonna
anything.
hear anything really until Death Stranding 2
He did.
drops.
He did
Really.
tweet after it, or was it this morning? One of the I don't know. But he did say something along the lines of, Fiant, we're not going to be talking about it, blah blah blah. But all I will say about it is it will be cutting edge. It will be unlike anything we have ever seen, and it will be, he talks about graphics, sound, and then he finishes the tweet with this weird line. Some people might call it a movie. So I think he's going to try to redefine storytelling video games and blend it in with movies. So, do you remember Quantum Break on the Xbox
I do
One,
remember Quantum
where
Break,
it
yeah.
was game, but it was interspersed with TV show episodes,
Yes, that's right.
which starred Peter Baelish from Game of Thrones? It didn't work, but it could work. I mean, Alan Wake 2 uses
It's
the same sort of thing. There's live
that's it.
action cutscenes.
I think it's we're our ways off on this one, so it is purely
Speculation.
speculative and
Absolutely speculation.
theorizing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It could be something that ties into, something that Sony Pictures end up putting out. It could be something that works in tandem, as a
That's
immersive
It could
experience.
be that. Is it
We
going to
also could just be a 30-hour game, but it's
That's
actually just a 30-hour cutscene, but you have the illusion that you've played the game, and then you just kind of leave going, was this the greatest thing I've ever seen?
I mean, you just described Metal Gear Solid 4.
I'm pretty sure we're just going to get some kind of MK Ultra experiment.
I think yeah.
And
I think the one thing we can categorically say is Hideo Kojima is not going to do something that another company has tried. He's going to do something different, and I wonder if it's going to be along the lines of here's a movie, here's a game, watch one, play one, get the full story. Or is that too simplistic for him though, isn't it? I think he's going to try to blur what interactive media is. I
I
think
think,
he's going to try something really
yeah,
spectacular,
it's
and it could
quite
blow up in his
bold.
face.
It's quite bold to have to, the scope of what Sony are involved in it now in terms of their sound and media outlets on it as well. It's going to be interesting. I think very much I watch this space on this one as well,
Yeah,
but it'll be shrouded in mystery, and I think
he'll
more
tease
for
us
it,
for
to be honest.
years
Yeah,
with it as well. And I hope when he does reveal it, he does the classic Hideo Kojima thing and create a fake production house, a fake director, fakes out the game, and then Mission Impossible rips off the mask and goes, "Well, it was me all along." Do you remember he did that with the Phantom Pain, where he
that's
disguised
right.
himself
Yes.
as this Swedish? I think he called them Moby Dick Productions. He had a burn and had to cover his face with the bandages.
I
What
mean,
a
there's
what a
no
dude! He
half
does
measures.
what he
No
wants.
half measures. Like,
He does what he wants. I love Hideo Kojima. But yeah, that's it then for the state
that
of
really
play.
is
There's
it.
nothing more to say. There was a lot more games in there, a couple of VR games and stuff, but they're the ones we want to talk about, and I think we've talked about them quite enough.
Hmm.
So let's ask everyone out there, what game did you see in the state of play that you're really excited for? Let us know on Twitter or on highscoreshighstakes.com. I'll open up there is an article coming up over the next few days. Get yourself over there and leave a comment telling us what game you are most excited for from the state of play. And that wraps up our discussion on state of play. So let's get the wrap up section. That is it, Tomahawk. Another episode all wrapped up. We are getting through these rightly. Season 3 is looming large on the horizon.
Funny. It's
and
really
we
funny these episodes because the less games we play, the more like a gaming journalist I feel like,
I
and it's giving me a headache
know,
now.
I know,
I
I
have to
know.
be eloquent with my words and start to read a thesaurus now. It's
Yeah,
what is this? I don't know what this is anymore. I'm holding the dual sense if you're not watching the video.
I mean, my PlayStation 5 is like, please play me. And I'm like, I would love to, my sweet, but I'm far too busy researching what
I
these
think it
games are.
I think it appreciates the oh, you downloaded this game. It's really good. You played it for 10 minutes. Oh, you deleted it. That was weird. What's going on? You doing it again.
Stop that. We're going to get Herman Hulse knock our door. What are you doing? What are you doing,
Stop deleting them.
Play the game from start to finish.
Oh, that's it.
But yes,
I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this part. Let's keep it going.
yes. So what have we got left to say? Nothing really. We will have a new episode come Monday. Don't panic about that. And then we're hoping that season 3 is going to start in the next couple of weeks. Tom, I don't think I'm being
The latest, I think, if we start in March, so by the time the
February.
episode today, that'll have dropped 5th of February.
Yep,
I'm thinking if we can get going in competition format by the end of
by the end
February,
of February.
we'll be flying.
Yeah, that's
I
that's
think
my hope for it.
any more delays you're looking, if we can get into the start of March, that'll be the absolute cutoff, I think, guys.
Yeah.
If we're just be more patient, this journalistic side of High Scores High Stakes will come to an end. Don't you worry.
It will. It will. And speaking of coming to an end, so is this episode. So let's do the little reminders, okay? If you want to see any of our interactions of the internet on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, the whole heap, highscoreshighstakes.com. Click the little icon for the site you want to go to, and it'll bring you straight to our page on there. Again, if you're liking the podcast, follow, subscribe, leave a review for us as well. That would
5
be
stars.
absolutely lovely. And that is that, Tomahawk, which leaves us with just
Yes.
one thing to say. You know what it is? Happy Mr. Luvva Luvva. This has been High Scores, High Stakes. See you Monday. Love you all. Bye.
Bye.